Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the webcast today on Bluebeam workflows, tips and tricks for architects and engineers. My name is Jotin, and I am an AEC BIM consultant here at Cloud A2K. In this webinar, we will be going through two example workflows within the Bluebeam software. One workflow directed towards engineering and one workflow directed towards architectural. Please do keep in mind that while these workflows are sort of triaged by discipline, you can take bits and pieces from any of them and apply it towards your particular profession. From there, we will cover around 10 general handy tips and tricks everyone should be aware of to enhance productivity when using the Bluebeam software. There will be a short Q&A session at the end, so please feel free to jump in with some questions at that stage in the webinar. Okay. All right, before we get to the main topics, just a brief overview of what Cloud A2K is and does. Cloud A2K is an organization which fosters innovation through delivering software and hardware solutions, consulting, training, development, and managed services. Our highly knowledgeable staff and industry experienced members from the architecture, engineering, construction, infrastructure, and manufacturing sectors enhances our customers' organizational capabilities to deliver on their project outcomes. And one of these solutions, of course, is Bluebeam, and that's why we are here today. A little bit about me. My name is Jatin Sharma. I have over 7 years experience in the construction industry as a BIM manager, designer, and technical instructor. Currently, my role at Cloud A2K is that of an AEC BIM consultant, and my software skills include, obviously Bluebeam, Revit, Autodesk Construction Cloud, Navisworks, BIM 360, and a couple of other bits and bobs. I actually initially completed a Bachelor of Science, majoring in geology and physics before sort of stumbling into the building industry, where I got hired as a draftee initially, and sort of that transitioned across to a Revit certified professional. And from there, I sort of progressed to being a BIM manager and a consultant. Little quick slide here about Bluebeam Review itself for anyone who's watching that's new to the software. In a nutshell, Bluebeam Review is a software application that allows users to mark up, take off, organize, and collaborate with PDF files. It can be classified as an efficiency and collaboration software for anyone who works within or with technical files, if you will. I believe it was founded in 2002, and since then sort of exploded to around 1.6 odd million users across the globe. In ANZ especially, around 90% of the top ANZ contractors use Bluebeam in one way, shape, or form. I suspect the percentage has increased since the last time they did the study, but that's a quick overview of Bluebeam itself. All right, so let's get to the meat of this webinar. Here is our agenda of what we will be going through. Like I mentioned at the start, we will first showcase two workflows that utilize different parts of Bluebeam by discipline. So I'll try to make them as different as I can so you can get an idea of what's possible using the Bluebeam platform. From there, we will go through some more general tips and tricks that you should all be aware of, day to day to enhance your efficiency. So, there are things like using the reuse tool, quickly applying markups to multiple pages at once, hyperlinking markup, so you don't have to manually scroll through pages to find what you need to find, auto-sizing text boxes, things of that nature. So that's what we'll be going through today. Awesome. All right. So let's begin with our engineering workflow demonstration. Okay. The objective here is to use simple markup tools and the inbuilt status column to increase our design review efficiency. Okay. The key takeaways I would like people to take away from the demonstration is how you can leverage the Bluebeam tool chest, Bluebeam Markup List columns, and thinking about using standardized markups across your organization. So there's a real standardization across your business. Okay. So it is demo time. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Bluebeam. Okay. And you can see here I've got a structural set of drawings here, a couple of pages. Very quick, very straightforward. It's a proposed warehouse. Okay, so I'm going to put my engineering hat on, and let's say that these drawings have come through and we need to begin the review process. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is leverage my Bluebeam tool chest, which I find on the left-hand side. If I hover over it, it says tool chest, and it's a, oh, it definitely looks like a tool chest icon, fairly visible to see. I'm going to click on this button here. Okay, so in here, you can see that it's been triaged by different teams, contractor review, engineer, general measurements, some sample tool chests and my own personalized tools that I like to use. So the reasoning behind this is at a glance, you can see here that I've got different colors. And they correspond back to the particular discipline. So, for example, if I was going through this document and I saw a whole bunch of yellow, I would know that the contractors have been through here and have added their 2 cents onto the project. Okay, so it's a nice way of at a glance seeing what people have done with the documents. Okay, so I'm going to use this engineering review section here. All right, so let me just go to page 1. Okay, I'm just going to scroll here. Again, go back to my tool chest. And let's say that I'm going to begin marking up. All right, so very straightforward. I'm going to use my Cloud with Text tool. So I'm just going to do a quick markup here. Say needs further development. Okay, let's say that perhaps this one here, I'm going to put a comment down and I'm going to say not correct. And I might even just go through some additional pages. So perhaps I might go over here and do another markup here. I might say says need to go. Just something very, very straightforward, just for a bit of fun. And let's say I'm going to go back to my tool chest and perhaps I'll do some clouds as well. I might do one here and I'll do one here. Okay, so this is my initial review and I've done a couple of markups. Okay, as I'm doing these markups, okay, if I just go to the bottom of my screen and just scroll this little slider upwards, you see here I've got a markups list. Okay, as I'm marking up through all these documents, Bluebeam is recording this and triaging the information according to the columns and presenting it back to me. Okay, now the column I want to direct you towards is actually this one here called status. Okay, now if you can't find this column, it's an inbuilt column. So if you can't find it, head over to Markups list over here, go to columns, and make sure this is turned on. Okay, if this has got a tick on it, you'll be able to see it. Okay, in the status column, there are some sliders here, okay, that we can click on. If I click on these sliders, you can see here I've got a couple of states that I can place on these markups. Okay, if I wanted to, I can go to manage status over here, and if I click on this, you can see I've got the list of them. I can edit any one of these, okay, to make sure it aligns with my company processes. Okay, so if I click on any one of these, there is a modify button. which will open. Okay, so I'm actually going to make some changes to this. And you can see it's going to be really cool. It's all going to come together in a couple seconds. So I'm going to go to accepted over here, and I'm going to modify. Okay, and if I hit modify, obviously, like I said, you can change the name, but I'm actually going to turn on this color option. Okay, and I'm going to change the color of this to, let's say, green. Okay, so just keep that at the back of your mind. Accepted is green. Okay, I might go over to rejected. I'm going to go modify, turn on that color again. Perhaps I'll make rejected red. And I'll do one more. We'll head over to completed. Perhaps modify color. I might just change completed to what's a fun one? We'll go violet. Okay, and I'll go okay, and then I'll hit okay. All right, just have that at the back of your mind. This is what we've done. All right, so remember, I've got my engineering hat on, and I've done an initial review. Okay, and I've done a bunch of markups. Let's say I go ahead and I save this, and I send it across to the next stage of the review process, perhaps a approver or another team. Okay, what they can do now is that they can click on any of these markups. So for example, they can go over here, go to this markup here, and then they can double click on the status column and decide if they want to accept, reject, or cancel, or whatever comments they want to pass back, they can do so. So let's say perhaps, yes, this is acceptable. This does need further development. If I hit accepted, do you see that? It's changed color. It's changed color according to what we put in that manage status. You know what we did up here? Accepted, modify, it's green. Okay, let's go to another one, right? We'll go over to this one here. Let's say, someone's wrote not correct. Actually, I'm going to reject that. Double click, go reject. Change that to red. And I'm going to keep scrolling down again, right? This one here, this cloud markup, and then double click and say, you know what? I'm going to accept that. That's fine. And then I'm going to head over here. Outline of roof overshown dashed. Okay, I see. Now I might just go rejected. So you can see as I'm going through this list and adding a status, it's changing color accordingly. There are two really cool things that we can take away from here, okay? The first thing is, if I save this and I send it back to the initial reviewer, or perhaps the drafting team or whatever it is, they can at a glance, okay, look at any page and know straight away what comments have been approved and what have been rejected. Like I can be on the first page and I already know I can see a couple of reds here. Oh, okay, there are probably some rejected comments. I probably need to take a look at those. Okay. This is so at a glance, you can really sort of visualize what things you need to work on. Okay. But we can take it one step further. All right. Because we've got this column now easily filled in, we can actually filter. Okay. So if I click on the status column, you can see that it's actually filtered it. I can see what markups have been accepted, what markups have been rejected. I can then click on this little summary button over here, okay? And hit PDF summary. When I do this, I'm actually creating a report, okay? If I tick append and hyperlink to current PDF, if I tick this and go okay, we've got a beautiful report now, right? Where you can see the markups or comments that have been accepted, what have been rejected, and what are still pending. I can click on any one of these and it will take me right back to that spot in the drawing I need to take a look at. How awesome is that? I love this tool, and not enough people are aware of this tool. This is all inbuilt in your Bluebeam. I haven't changed a single thing. Okay, this is there for you to leverage and use as part of your design review process. And it's that straightforward. With a couple of clicks, you can see it's even telling you who's accepted it on what date and what time. so you can keep track of that as well. Okay, this is one of my favorite little workflow tip, if you will, that I like to show off. Really, really powerful. Like I say, this is engineering orientated simply because of, they go through a lot of review processes, but you can apply this to any other discipline, okay, of your choosing. Perfect. Right. So now that we've done a quick one of engineering workflow, let's do one for the architectural workflow. Okay, so let's dive into this. The objective here is to use what's known as spaces, okay, within Bluebeam to track markups, create measurements, and you can even use hyperlinking functionality, all right? And I'll show you all of that in just a second. Okay, again, this is another one of my favorites. The Spaces tool is not commonly known or used, and I don't know why, but it's super, super useful, okay? The key takeaways you want to think about is how you can leverage the space tool, obviously, and use it to help you create area and volume measurements very quickly, hyperlink them throughout the PDF, align markups to the spaces, and again, even do a little bit of reporting. Okay, so that's what we'll get into in just a second. All right, let me just head back to my Bluebeam review. I've got a nice clean architectural set here. I've got a couple of building designs, got a couple of files here that we can use. Let's head over to the proposed general arrangement plan. And what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to put on my architectural hat and we're going to start creating some spaces. All right, first things first, what we will do is find where the spaces button is. And it actually looks kind of like a floor plan. And you can normally find it on the right-hand side of your Bluebeam. You see that little floor plan icon here? And if you hover over it, it should say spaces. So we'll go ahead and we'll click on that. Okay, now let's look at bedroom 1. Let's use that as our first example. I'm going to click on this little floor plan with a plus icon. If I hover over it, it says add space. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to, you see Bluebeam is helping me out by helping snap to these, snap to the walls. I'm going to click and hold, create my square. Let's make that a little bit better. That's beautiful. All right, and we'll give this a name. We'll call this bedroom 1. And I'll go, okay. You can see here it's given it a color. I don't like this color for bedroom 1, so I'm going to change it. So we'll go over here, right? It says bedroom 1. This is the space that we created. I'm going to right click on it. You can see it'll select that space. I'm going to head over to properties. And over here, I can change the color. Okay, I might change this to red. All right, keep in mind the opacity is at like 10%. You can change this to whatever, but it'll probably come out more like a pink or orange, I would say. So yeah, kind of a very, very light red color. Let's do one for bedroom 2. Okay. Again, that little add space button. Oh, I probably don't need to scroll that far. This is fairly easy. Bluebeam's helping me out. And I'm going to go bedroom 2. Okay. I'm going to change this color as well. I don't like it. I'm going to go properties and perhaps change this to, let's go with this. Okay. Almost like a dark green. Again, we'll do one more. We'll do it for bedroom 3. I'll go add space. Click and hold. And I'll go bedroom 3. And I'll go, okay. You know what? For now, I'll leave this color as is. Okay. So you can see my bedroom 1, 2, and 3, and you can see my spaces. Now, okay, we've gone ahead and we'll create our spaces, and you're thinking, all right, that's great, Jaden, we've done this, but what's the point? We've just spent like 5 minutes doing all this, and so why? All right, there are 3 to 4 things that we can do from the fact that we've created the spaces, and we'll go through it one by one. Okay, so let's say I want to make sure that all 3 bedrooms have got the same area. It's part of my design, and I'm an architect, and I want to make sure this is correct. What you can do is you can actually select all 3 at once, or select each one individually, whatever is easy for you. If you hold down Shift, you can select all 3. And if you right click on them, there is a create area measurement option. Do you see that? If I hit this, it's going to create area measurements for me. Now, I don't like the fact that it's in square millimeters, so I'm going to go ahead and change this. Go over to my measurements, make sure I've selected all 3, and just change that area to meters. There we go. And I can see here it's more or less the same. There might be a couple of millimeters out, but that may be due to my snapping or whatever the case may be. But generally, if I rounded it, it's about the same. Awesome. That's great. I know that now, it's for sure. I've just created an area measurement with like 1 click for all 3 bedrooms. Okay. Now, sometimes you may get a prompt saying, hey, you need to calibrate the measurement first, as in, 1 centimeter is equal to 100 meters or 1 meter in real life. But that's, fairly straightforward. I'm assuming you have some level of knowledge with Bluebeam in this demonstration. We can go further with this. So we can even create volume measurements if we wanted to as well. Okay, so for example, if I go ahead and I click on these particular measurements, okay, let's say we'll go to bedroom 1. If I click on this particular measurement, this area measurement here, I can go to show captions, hit edit, and turn on volume. Okay. When I turn on volume, you'll see it change, and it'll give me A equals. The reason why it goes A equals is because we've got more than 1 measurement now showing. So Bluebeam wants to help us out and tell us what we're actually looking at. But interestingly, my volume hasn't turned up. Why hasn't that turned up? Oh, that's fairly straightforward. By default, Bluebeam will keep the depth at 0. Okay, so if we give this, if we give it a depth, so meters 1.2 and exit out, it's going to give us a volume. And so that's in cubic millimeters. So let's go ahead and let's change that. So we can go to volume in our measurement button here and perhaps change that to cubic meters. And there we go. That looks a bit nicer. How cool is that? So by creating the spaces, I'm able to do all these things really, really easily. All right, that's just the first thing. Okay, we'll go on to the next cool thing you can do from this space here. Now, let's say that we want to start hyperlinking the space for, to reference back in a schedule, for example. You're doing a schedule, you've got your different bedrooms, and you want to refer back to this particular plan. Really, really easy. Let's do a cool example. I think I've got a schedule here on page 4. Just for fun, we'll do it for a door schedule. All right, and we've got one for bedroom 3. Watch this. I've got my spaces tab open, right? And I've got bedroom 2 here. If I hover over bedroom 2, there is a little hyperlink icon, okay, that you can press. If I click this and I click on the area, click and hold and draw a little square on the area, so bedroom 2, I've now created a hyperlink. I can click, it's going to take me to bedroom 2. Oh, it's so cool. I really, really like using spaces. So how easy was that? I can do the same thing, for example, for bedroom 3. So hover over bedroom 3, click on that little hyperlink icon, put it for bedroom 3. And now if I click on it, it's going to take me there. How cool is that? It's a really, really awesome tool. Okay, but we can go even further, right, than this. Now, I'm going to start marking up in these spaces and watch what happens in my markup list. Okay, I'm going to go to my tool chest and I'm going to go to my architect review. And let's say I want to do let's do a cloud with some text. And I'm going to do it on this. Let's do it for bedroom 2. And I'm going to apply it on this bed here. I'm gonna click over here, click, and say, okay, we'll just say this is too expensive. We'll do another one over here. And we'll say this is bad. You'll have to excuse my spelling. There's a reason why I ended up back in buildings. And we'll do one more. We'll do one for this door. Okay, and we'll say, single door. Okay. You see here, I've done all these markups. And when I do these markups, what's really interesting is that the markups that I created here is actually aligning itself to a particular space. Do you see that? So this markup here is putting itself under bedroom 2. This one here is putting itself under bedroom 3. What that means is if I, again, filter by space, I can see really easily what markups and measurements are being placed under what spaces. Okay, I can then, again, click on that little summary button, go PDF summary. Okay, look at this, awesome. So now I can see here for bedroom 1, there's an area measurement, bedroom 2. I can see here there's a markup and an area measurement for bedroom 2. So it's helping me a lot by triaging it for me so that I know exactly, you know, for example, one space might have more markups than the others. That's something you need to work on a bit more. You know, at a glance, it gives you powerful information to work with. And again, you know, you can create reports from this and you know, align it back to your original PDF. Super, super useful. The other thing that you can do is you can even, if you wanted to, this is an extra for experts. I don't expect a lot of people to do this, but you know, it's something that you can try, is if you're in, let's say, the conceptual design phase, and you can see here bedroom 1. If I right click here, you can even take a snapshot. So I can just take a snapshot of this. And let's say, you know, we've got a lounge over here. Let's say I want to see what bedroom 1 looks like in this space. Right click, paste, and I've got a bedroom 1. I can see what that looks like. You know, this is just a quick example, but you can use this in so many ways, and all this functionality is so quick and easy because we've just created these spaces. Okay, at any point, you can turn on, or excuse me, you can highlight spaces. So if you click on this little kind of hatch pattern, it's called highlight spaces. If you turn this on, you can see it. If you turn this off, it's gone. Okay, you can reference this throughout your entire drawing. This is a really, really useful tool. And it's something that I recommend that everyone, you know, at least take a look at these spaces. You can even embed spaces if you wanted to. So you can create like a bigger space here and then create smaller spaces, you know, sort of on top of them. And Bluebeam will handle that just fine. Okay, one of my really, really favorite tools, and I highly recommend everyone take a quick look. I do see a couple of people asking some quick questions. I'll be able to get to it at the end of this webinar. Please do post it under Q&A, not under chat. Otherwise, we won't be able to address them. Okay. Perfect. All right. Let's head back to our slideshow. So, a quick recap. We did a quick workflow for engineering processes, and we did a quick workflow for architectural processes. Okay, so now what we will do is we'll head to our top 10 tips. So I'll read it out loud and I'll reference it back in my Bluebeam and we'll just go back and forth, right? So this will be a really cool, quick 10 tool tips. All right, first one, pinning tools to taskbar or just being able to customize your taskbar. Let me just open up my Bluebeam so I can show you what that looks like. I might just move to this fresh copy here. Okay. Do you see this toolbar section here? It's kind of like if you worked with CAD platforms, this will be pretty inherent to you, okay? And you can customize this portion here in any way you want. If you use these little dots arranged in a, arranged vertically, you can move them around. I can put this over here if I wanted to. I can go ahead and put this on this other side if I wanted to. I can rearrange my toolbars any way I want. If I right click on this area, I can choose what tools I want to turn on and off. If you're ever confused, like for example, what does it mean by like line style? What it's saying here is, so for example, if you go to tools, markup, and go over to like line styles, those tools are being re-represented over here. Okay. So if I right click and I turn on font, you can see here, font will turn up for me right at the top. And I might just rearrange this and put this over here. You can even take these little icons that you see on the left and right side and rearrange them. So let's say, I want my measure tool to be over here. Okay. I can even have it outside if I wanted to. So you just click and hold, and it will tell you where you want it to be placed. Okay. Or you can right click and turn them on and off. If you want to go a step further and actually like rearrange them like you would something like AutoCAD, what you can do is you can right click, like I've just done here, go over to customize, and fully customize your toolbar. I wouldn't recommend doing this until you're a bit used to what the tools do and where you kind of want them, because you may omit some functionality from yourself. But this is where you would go if you wanted to completely rearrange everything. Okay. I'm gonna go, okay, yeah. So go back. So that's a little bit around pinning tools to the taskbar. Just one last thing on that. If you have two screens, you can even click and hold, like take any of these buttons and put it across to your other screen. So you just click and hold and take this icon and just scroll over to your other screen and it'll be there for you to use. So you can leverage both screens if you wanted to. Okay, really, really handy tool. Okay, next thing is reuse tool. Oh, okay, this is one of my favorites. Okay, the reuse tool. If you're not doing this, you're going to be wasting so much time. Okay, where you find the reuse tool is in this bar here on the right hand side. There's a reuse markup tools. So it's like a little highlighter with kind of like an arrow, like a spirally arrow. You can turn this off and on. I'm going to turn this off. Okay, and I'm going to show you the power of it. So let's say I've got this little, drawing here and I wanted to start marking up. I'm going to go over to my tool chest and let's say I wanted to draw some clouds. Okay, I'm going to draw a cloud here. All right. Let's say I want to draw another cloud, right? Because I'm going to do my markups and I want to do it nice and quickly. I know what I want to do. I have to go back here, click. Now I'm done. Now I have to go back again, click on this cloud and click on this. I have to keep going back and forth. That's just so much wasted time. I don't even want to like do anything like that. What you can do is you can turn on reuse markup tool and see the difference. I'm going to turn on my cloud icon again. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not wasting any time going back and forth. Okay. This works for any markup, not just for cloud. I like using the cloud example, but you can do the same thing with something like text. You know, I've seen people go back and forth, or even go up here, go markup, click on this, whatever the case may be. You don't have to. If you're reusing the same markup, turn this on and you're going to save yourself so much time. Okay. So that's a little bit around the reuse tool. Okay, let's go back. Quickly applying markups to multiple pages. Yes. So this is a really, really handy tool, particularly if you're working on things like hotel projects or these kind of residential or, you know, high-rise residential projects where like 3 or 4 floors have got the exact same arrangement plan, and you don't want to, you know, go back and forth, create the markup on this page, go over here, you know, go to the next page. It's you know, this, for example, this floor here will be on the exact same place in the drawing in page 4 as it is on page 3, but you have to go back and forth, and you don't want to do that. Okay, how you do this is you go, okay, you go to your, you know, tool chest. Let's say we draw a cloud here under this fruit tree. Right click on your markup. Oh, make sure you have your markup selected. Right click and go apply to pages. If you go apply to pages, you can choose a page range, or you can go custom range, even pages, odd pages, landscape, or portrait. Might go custom range, and let's just say page 1 to 5. Let's do that, and I'll go okay. We're done. If I go back, you can see here that little cloud popped up on page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and page 5 on the exact same place. So if you have, you know, multiple floors and they've got the same arrangement and you don't want to do markups, you know, back and forth for each page, this is a really, really quick way you can do multiple at the same time. And you've just saved yourself like 20 to 30 minutes of work. Super, super useful. Okay. The next thing is using control to copy markups. Yeah. So this is another one of my really, really cool favorites, is if let's do one for this markup here, okay? If I wanted to, I could hold down my control button and I can actually copy markups. You see that? I'm holding down my control, I'm just selecting the markup, and I'm just doing a copy paste, but I'm doing it all in one go. This is particularly useful if you're doing something like snapshots. So for example, if I go edit, snapshot, and I create a snapshot here. Okay, and let's just say I paste it here. All right, let's say I want like a massive arrangement of this particular feature or tree. Click and hold my control, and just see how quick that is. Oh, excuse me. That's the actual real one. I can go ahead and create them. How easy is that? You can copy, you know, lines, squares, circles, anything you like. Press and hold the control button, okay, on your keyboard, and then go ahead, click your markup, and you can just copy them. Okay, very, very useful again. Okay, next thing, hyperlinking markups. Yes, so we kind of saw an example of that with spaces, but it's just obviously just a very, very good tool overall, being able to do or rather hyperlinking markups. So what you can do, let's do an example here for existing site plan. Okay, so I know existing site plan, for example, is on page 3. What I can do is I can go to my tools, go markup, go highlight. I mean, you can use, you know, leverage your tool chest as well, but just to do something a little bit different, I'm gonna go highlight, gonna highlight this particular text. And now if I click on my markup, right click, I can go to what's known as edit action. Okay, if I click on edit action, I can give this a hyperlink. So I can go jump to a particular page. So I want to jump to page 3. When people click on this markup, I can choose to even choose a particular point on any page for it to hyperlink to if I wanted to. I can choose if I wanted to hyperlink a website or open up another document entirely. Okay, just for this demonstration, I'm just going to go page 3, and I'm going to hit the OK button. When I hit the OK button, you'll see a little lightning symbol pop up, and that's how we know it's now hyperlinked. Now, if I sort of exit out, this icon still stays, and you might be wondering, well, I don't really want it to stay, forever. Once I save this and send it across, I don't really want this little icon. Don't worry. If you go to document and you flatten, so when you're done with your markups, you traditionally flatten it. Once you flatten this, and if I hit flatten, that icon will go away and the hyperlink will stay. So if I click on this A2200, excuse me, it's going to go to my site plan. Okay, I'll just unflatten everything and bring that. So don't worry too much about seeing this icon. If you click on this icon, it will direct you to that particular hyperlink. Once you flatten it, the icon will go and the users can just click on whatever markup that you've associated with the hyperlink. Okay. All right. The next thing is auto-sizing text boxes. Okay. This is another one of our real favorites. So anyone who's created text boxes, knows this particular issue. If I go tools, markup, text box, let's say I create like a big text box here, and I only end up writing one line. So, let's just go hello world, right? And I escape out. Do you see that? It's resized my text box back to only what's necessary. The way to turn this on is to go over to your review, go to preferences, go over to tools, markup, and make sure you turn on auto size text box and call out markups. If this is turned off, if I go okay, you'll see the difference. If I try again, go text box and I draw a real big one and I only end up typing 1. You see that? I've got this big unutilized real estate space that sort of stays where it is because of this setting: review, preferences, tools, markup, auto size text box, and call out markups. Turn this on, your problems will go away. Okay. In terms of text boxes and call out markups with text boxes as well, obviously. Okay. Make a perfect circle or square using Shift. Yes, this is a really simple one, but really, really effective. So if I head over to Tools and I go Markup, you'll see there's an ellipse icon and a rectangular icon, but there isn't like a circle or a square. And let's say I want to create those. One way you could do it is if I hit ellipse, and if I let's say if I turn on my grids, I can try to create like a perfect one, using grids. I've got a nice circle. Or the easier way is if you hold down Shift in your keyboard, it will create a perfect square for you. Oh, excuse me, circle. It will also create a perfect square. So if I go to Markup and go rectangle, it'll do the same thing. So you can see I created a nice perfect square. Very, very useful tool. Okay. All right. Next one is using the Colorize tool. This is really, really useful, particularly for engineers when they get, for example, an architectural drawing, and they want to sort of gray everything out or make everything very transparent so they can start, perhaps doing a bit of general markups or a couple of design components. Okay, how you do that is if you head over to Document and go over to Color Processing, okay, you can do what's known as Process Type. And there's one option called Modify Colors. If you have a host of other, like greens and purples flying out everywhere, you can just choose the grayscale option if you wanted to as well. Okay, if you choose this, it will just turn whatever that's black into yellow or gray. Oh, not yellow, excuse me, gray or white. Okay, but we're going to choose Modify Colors. And I'm going to go Source Color, black, to, let's say, very light shade of gray. And it gives me a before and after comparison. So it's going to take every color that's black that it can see and turn it to light gray. Okay, there might be another type of black that's slightly, you can see here. So now that's fully gray. I can go ahead now and go okay, and it's going to turn everything nice and gray for me to be able to work on. I can see here there's one type of color of sort of omitted. So go back to Document, Color Processing. And perhaps turn this to, I can even go white if I wanted to and go okay. All right, so that's the Colorize tool back under Document, Color Processing. Okay, you can either go Modify Colors or go grayscale, black and white. You've got different options available to you. You can even mask images if you like. So it's a really, really useful tool to be able to use. And it just makes your life a lot easier, especially if you're quite a visual person. All right. Next thing is using Backspace to go back a step when drawing. Yes, this is super, super cool. All right, watch this. If I go over to my tools and I go Markup, a good example is something like Polyline. I see this a lot when people are trying to create like custom markups or trying to go through more like troublesome areas. So when you're in drawing mode, obviously, you click, let's say I'm drawing here, click, click, click. And then let's say I click over here and I say, oh, I've made a mistake. I've drawn this line wrong. What a lot of people do is they'll go Escape, go Tools, Markup, Polyline, start again. Or, let's say you've made another mistake here, they'll double click on here and start messing around with these control points. You don't need to do any of that, okay? If you use Backspace while you're in drawing mode, you can take a back step without losing your actual markup. So watch this. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I've made a mistake here. I can hit the backspace and I've got it back. I can go backspace again and it's taking me back one step. Backspace again, it's taking me back one step. So I've got real control now over my markup. Okay, then that's just by pressing the backspace button on your keyboard. So super, super useful tool. The last thing is manipulating PDF content. So this is another one that, I feel like, a fair amount of people know about, but it's always good touching up on it again, just in case. At any point during your, markup process, you can decide to go to the Edit button over here and go to PDF content. And you've got a host of tools if you want to cut content, erase content, snapshot content if you wanted to. So for example, let's say that this carport I want to move to over here. I can just go Edit, PDF content, cut content, choose this area here, right click, paste. Okay, how easy is that? You know, you don't have to go back to the CAD program to rearrange anything. You can just do it within the PDF. Okay, if I wanted to get rid of something, you know, without pasting it somewhere else, like for example, let's say this hardcover area is wrong and I want to get rid of this, you can just go over to Edit, PDF Content, and just go Erase Content. And it's gone. Okay, just like that. You can, you see I'm clicking, you know, clicking and holding to create squares and stuff like this, but you can always go to drawing mode by going one click at a time to get rid of content too. So perhaps a good example is these trees over here. So I can get rid of this content if I want to. Very straightforward, very simple, and super, super useful. Okay, perfect. So that's our top 10 tips. All right, cool. Now it's time for feedback, open forum, and some questions. So I can see some Q&As here already. You know, feel free to, you know, add some more if you want to. Let's start with a couple that we have here. What's the first one? Jessica, can I get a copy of this recording? Yep, of course. I believe this recording gets posted on YouTube on our A2K channel. Excuse me, Cloud A2K channel. So you can go ahead and take a look once it's up over there. Lillian Ali, what about odd shape spaces? Yep, not a problem. So if I go back to that architectural set, and let's say we'll go to this one here. This is an odd shape, okay? I can go over to my spaces, add space. So what I've been doing is I've been clicking and holding so to, you know, to create squares and whatnot, but I can go again, drawing mode, where I'm just going one click at a time. One click at a time. And I can create a space here if I wanted to. Again, I can click on this. You can see I've got these points, and I can even right click on this and I can go subtract control point. I can create arcs if I wanted to as well. There's all sorts of things that's available. So odd shapes, definitely yes. Another one from Lillian, can we convert the whole unit measurement in metric rather than every time? Yes, yep, yes, you can. That again is just some basic Bluebeam know-how. If you want more information on that, just send through a email just saying, hey, look, I want to understand the measurement functionality a little bit more, and we'll be happy to help you out. The toolchairs you showed at the start are your own developed tools. Are they not standard to Bluebeam? Yeah, no, they are standard to Bluebeam actually. So the profile I'm actually using is the simple review profile. So I'm just using the one that came out of the box. Everything you see here is out of the box. So if you want more information on that, I believe that was Jeffrey. Again, send us an email, info@cloudA2K.com, and we can go over that with you a little bit more. So I've tried to keep my Bluebeam environment as native as possible so that you can refer back to it. John, we use a lot of old paper plans that have been scanned to PDF. Can these be modified to be background? Yes, 100%. That's not a problem whatsoever. The only thing you'll have to do, John, is, again, just a little bit of know-how in terms of Bluebeam functionality. Under Document, there is a OCR function here, and you can change this, the document type, and, you know, and if you sort of change some stuff around here, you'll be able to do that just fine. Even if it's scanned, you know, you won't have a problem. Again, if you want more information, John, obviously send through an email. There's only so much we can we can sort of say within our webinar time. Does anyone have any more questions? So I believe I've answered everything. I'll give it another minute. If anyone has any more questions, now's the time. think that's it. So with that, I may just pause the share. Oh, excuse me. No, you know what? I'm going to put one last slide. I totally forgot. Thanks for attending. Obviously, thanks so much for listening to me go on for about 50 odd minutes. Again, any questions you have, you can go info@cloud8k. I believe my colleague Sam has also sent through another one, licensing@cloud8k.com, or you can email him directly. Check out our YouTube channel as well if you want to see a copy of this webinar once more. And yeah, hopefully everyone else has a good day. Thanks so much.